The United Earth Coalition's flagship, ISS Horizon, floated in orbit around the planet Vel'Arin, a world of teal oceans and jagged silver continents glittering like polished crystal. Humanity had ventured into the stars for centuries, but this was their first formal contact with the Veylar Dominion, a civilization older and more advanced than humankind by millennia. Envoy Adrian Kael stood in the observation bay, watching the alien planet spin beneath him. His crisp diplomatic uniform did little to hide the tension in his body. Today he would meet the Veylar Queen, ruler of billions, commander of fleets, and guardian of secrets humanity barely understood. The stakes were simple: peace or war. The Veylar had been watching Earth for decades, sometimes intervening in subtle ways, sometimes testing humankind with veiled threats. Now they had summoned an envoy to their capital city, Vel'Arin, built atop an ocean cliff that stretched for hundreds of kilometers. Adrian had been chosen not because he was the most experienced diplomat, but because of his empathy. He had spent years studying alien cultures, always advocating that first contact must begin not with weapons, but with understanding. But there was another reason he had been chosen, one whispered in hushed tones in the Horizon's command deck. The Veylar Queen was said to despise arrogance, but she respected those who carried truth in their hearts. As the shuttle descended, Adrian's heart pounded. He would meet her face to face, and every word, every gesture, would ripple across two civilizations. The middle. Arrival in Vel'Arin. The capital city shimmered beneath twin suns, its towers carved from living crystal that pulsed with bioluminescence. Veylar architecture was less built than grown, each structure appearing as if it had sprouted from the earth itself. Adrian stepped out, flanked by two guards, though he had insisted they carry no visible weapons. Waiting for him were Veylar honor wardens, tall, silver-skinned beings with elongated limbs and eyes like pools of liquid sapphire. Their voices carried a resonance that hummed in the bones. They led him into the Hall of Aurelian, a vast chamber filled with cascading light and floating glyphs that shifted like smoke. At the center sat the Queen. The Alien Queen Seralyth Vel'Arin, was unlike anything Adrian had imagined. She stood nearly 7 feet tall, draped in flowing garments that shimmered between colors, like oil across water. Her skin glowed faintly, translucent in places, revealing faint pulses of energy beneath. Her face was angular yet graceful, her crown not a piece of metal but a natural extension of her body, crystalline growths that refracted the chamber's light. Her eyes locked on Adrian the moment he entered. They were not simply eyes. They were galaxies, spiraling with stars, as though she bore within her the reflection of the cosmos itself. "Human envoy," her voice rang, both a whisper and a chorus, vibrating through the air. "You stand before the Dominion. Speak truth, or your species will not see another dawn." Adrian bowed, his throat dry. This was no ordinary negotiation. Every instinct screamed at him to tread carefully. "We come not as conquerors nor as beggars," Adrian began. "We come to seek understanding, to bridge the silence between us." The Queen studied him. Her presence was overwhelming, a mixture of majesty and danger. To many she would appear terrifying, a sovereign who could destroy entire fleets with a single command. Yet Adrian sensed something beneath the surface, something lonely. The conversation, the dialogue stretched for hours. The Queen demanded answers about humanity's wars, their treatment of their own planet, their hunger for expansion. Adrian answered honestly, not hiding humanity's flaws. At one point Seralyth leaned forward. "Your species consumes without thought, wars against itself, and spreads like wildfire. Tell me, why should the Dominion allow such a species into the interstellar fold?" Adrian hesitated. This was the fulcrum moment. He could recite rehearsed lines, spout empty promises, but instead he spoke from his heart. "Because," he said softly, "for all our failures we have the capacity to change, to learn, to love. We fight, yes. We destroy, yes. But we also create art, we protect one another, we dream of futures brighter than ourselves. We are flawed, but we are striving." The hall grew silent. The queen tilted her head, her crystalline crown catching the light. Then, without truly planning it, Adrian whispered the words that would change everything. "You are beautiful." He hadn't meant it as flattery. It wasn't diplomacy. It was the truth. In that moment, he wasn't speaking to a ruler or an alien, but to a being whose presence overwhelmed him with awe. The honor wardens shifted, their hands tightening on their staffs. Such words were dangerous. To call the queen beautiful could be seen as insolence, or worse, seduction. But Seralyth did not react with anger. Her expression changed, subtle but unmistakable. For thousands of years, she had been revered, feared, obeyed. But never, not once, had anyone spoken to her with such disarming sincerity. Her reaction. The queen stood, descending the crystalline dais. The chamber pulsed with light as she approached Adrian. He felt the weight of her presence like gravity itself. She stopped before him, so close he could see the faint shimmer of energy flowing beneath her skin. Her voice lowered, no longer the booming resonance of a monarch, but something softer. "Do you speak truth, human? Do you find beauty in what you do not understand?" Adrian swallowed hard but held her gaze. "Yes." For the first time, Seralyth smiled. Not the cold, regal mask of a ruler, but a small, fragile curve of her lips that revealed something deeply hidden. "You are the first in centuries to see me as more than a crown," she said. Around them, the honor wardens shifted uncomfortably, unsure whether this was a dangerous turn or the dawn of something new. The turning point. That night, Adrian was invited to a private audience in the Celestial Garden, a place where bioluminescent flora floated in the air like drifting lanterns. There, the queen revealed truths no human had ever heard. She spoke of the burden of the crown, how for millennia she had ruled, immortal through cycles of regeneration, carrying the weight of every Veylar life. How power had isolated her, until all words spoken to her were either worship or fear. "You call me beautiful," she whispered as they walked among glowing trees. "Yet beauty is a cage. They do not see Seralyth the being, only Seralyth the queen." Adrian listened. And for the first time, she was not speaking as a ruler, but as someone yearning to be understood. In return, Adrian shared pieces of his own humanity, the songs of earth, the taste of rain, the laughter of children. Small things, fragile things, the kinds of moments that made existence worth carrying. As the twin suns rose, Seralyth turned to him. "Your words have shaken the Dominion, Envoy. For the first time in centuries, I wonder if perhaps the future may hold something different." The ending. The negotiations that followed were unlike any in galactic history. The Veylar Dominion and United Earth Coalition signed the Accords of Vel'Arin, a pact of cooperation and cultural exchange. Not merely because of politics, but because the Queen had been reminded that beyond power and legacy, there existed connection.